Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Hello there, Only One Kenobi here, Only One. This is top to flop for Darth Maul. This is my best to worst for all my Darth Maul figures. There's a few Mauls I don't have, including the Power of the Jedi one. That's the one that you can slice in the belly. And there's another training Maul one I don't have. The one when he's got that droid. I wouldn't mind getting hold of that. He's also shirtless in that one, I think, as well. But this is the order I've put them in. It's very difficult. On a different day, maybe I would have put them in another order. In joint first place is the TVC one. I have to put this in first place because it's always been a favourite. He's the most kitted out Darth Maul you can get. All the accessories and everything. Good posability. And there was a reissue of him where they did a much better face. With only a half saber there as well. I do that because, well, Obi-Wan cut his lightsaber in half. So I've taken him off the shelf now. I usually have him on the top shelf there with Obi-Wan hanging off the ledge, just as a little bit of a gimmick. But it's a great face on this second one. A lot of people are calling out for another Maul for TVC because they want the face to be as good as the other TVC Maul, which is from the Clone Wars. But it's just a brilliant Maul. And this is the one I've had for years. And I always have him in that pose, looking down like a ninja about to spring. I like it a lot. It's a great figure. The face of this one is not as good. It's alright. Hell, it's pretty decent actually. His horns are a bit fat. Anyway, that is my favourite. They're basically the same figure, although this one here has an updated face. That's more Repacked, that. Moving on to a figure I would love to put as number one. That is just, I love this figure. Hard goods done perfectly well. Hard goods are so good sometimes. And I just remember that just, well, when Maul jumps around on Tatooine, first time he's put into action, and this figure just captures that immensely. It's from the cinema scene that goes with Qui-Gon Jinn. I love this figure so much. I almost wanted to put this as my first, but for articulation reasons it loses points, but the face is just so good. He's, oh, wow. That is Repacked. Next place is a figure I never touch. I just have it on a shelf over there, a disorganized shelf, which I need to sort out by putting more Mandalorian figures with this guy, you know, part of his army. But the face is spectacular. That's probably the best face they've ever done. Oh God, sorry. The one problem with that figure that I've just said is amazing is that it doesn't stand very well. He's very top heavy and falls over. Anyway, this figure is just incredible. And the face is so good. Look at that. Look at those eyes as well they've done for Repacked. These figures are a bit dusty, but oh my God, they're very dusty. Hang on. I should really pre-prepare these videos. Anyway, but the only thing I don't like about this figure, and I'd put it at number one, but I can't, is because I've never been a fan of the resurrection of Maul. They killed him. He should be dead. He was killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that is it. But, you know, they brought him back. Well, George Lucas gave that the green light. And it turns out that they wanted him in the sequel trilogy, or George's original sequel trilogy. I don't know how much of that is true. But how he survived that fall is beyond me. But, so for that reason, I've never been a fan of Mr. Mechanoid Legs, Mechanical Legs, or whatever you want to call them. Moving on, because I could waffle on forever. This is a lovely Maul figure. I've always been a fan of it. It's a fully articulated, shirtless Maul. The reason I like this, folks, is because I usually have them on very high shelves, looking down on you like that. But this is great. This is a training Darth Maul that came in the Sith Evolutions pack. Came in a pack with him, Darth Nihilus, and Darth Bane. Something like that. But a brilliant Maul nonetheless. It's probably the best shirtless Darth Maul training. Completely shirtless. You see a bit of his chest as well on that one there. But yeah, a great Maul nonetheless. Similar to the ilk of the TVC one, I guess. And then this is a nostalgia one. This wins points for nostalgia. It's not the greatest Darth Maul, but I love this one. In fact, it's the first Darth Maul I ever bought. You know, the first time you see him, asides the hologram, and I got that figure recently, and I don't know where to put him in this list. I'm just going to have him on the side for now. after the hologrammatic scene and after the scene on the balcony, Tatooine is sparsely populated. If the trace is correct, we'll find them quickly, Master. You see him on Tatooine only one saber lit, which is interesting because you see a lot of double saber action in the publicity, but he only fires at one on Tatooine. He fires at two on Naboo, but I just like this figure a lot. I like the robes. It just perfectly encapsulates the same scene this one does, you know, the scene on Tatooine. So that's that. Going down the league table now. These two figures are one and the same. I bought this one first. This came with the Resurgence. Was it the Resurgence of the Sith? A good 2-pack. Came with a really good Sidious. And you got this figure, which I just have him in the sort of a bent pose there. It turns out this figure was actually the same one. I think it's the same one that came with the speeder there. And I bought this many years later. I bought this one in 2013 in Tesco. Just an offer I couldn't refuse. I think it was only a tenner. It was good for two figures. And I think it's the same figure that came on this one. So they obviously repacked it. And the heads are pretty decent. I've seen worse facial sculpts. So you get that accessory with it as well, which is pretty decent. And then we move on to some 1999 figures now. So that one was from 99, and so are now these two. This is another figure that I used to absolutely adore, this figure, because of the intensity of his face. You saw the eyes, and I have this one on. I've always displayed this one versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. There's 3 sets of figures you can get for Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul. Set number 1 is hard goods, fully robed. You can get that for Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Then set 2 is robes off, standing stationary like that, no soft goods. And then the next one is flailing, you know, moving in motion, and they've got soft goods on them. But this one's a really good one. It's better than that one, and I'll show you why. And I've got this one facing away because this figure looks better facing away from the back of him like that. And on my display I have Qui-Gon one side of him, Obi-Wan the other, just to capture that scene when they're both taking him on and he's in the hangar bay. So when they open those 2 big blast doors. But from the front, this figure is not as good. Yeah, the face of this one. My God, the dust. Yeah, the face of that one versus that is way different. That's a much better face. But that's why he's lower in the listing than that one. Moving on. Then we've got this one here. This is a training Maul. I'm thinking of retiring this figure now because I'd have a whole shelf dedicated to Maul, but I'm running out of space and stuff. Oh wow, I've just remembered that it's got the things on the back. From the front, he's awful. Well, he's not awful, but he's not very good. I don't like that face as much. Yeah, the eyes are a bit weird, aren't they? So I just have him, or had him, training. It's very much an expanded universe scene, isn't it? You don't see him in the movie like that, but you could imagine him training before the events of Phantom Menace. So I have him that way like that. I want the other training one though. I'd like to get that. I don't have it at this point in time with the droid that comes with it. I've put this one in. You forget that this is part of it now. This is a 3 3/4 inch figure of Darth Maul. It's actually a very good face, but yeah, I love what they've done with it. They could have given him a robe and made it better, but they didn't. And obviously, that's quite a good nod to the original Kenner days, giving it that plain plastic hilt there, saber combination. But the reason I've put him so low as well is I struggle to know where to put him. I did have a little display of all the other vintage retro collection, I should say, more figures, but they're kind of getting in the way of my modern, super articulated, screen accurate figures. Really, a bit of a gimmick retro collection. I've kind of put them there now as a sort of nod to that line, but really I'm regretting opening them because I'd like to focus on modern, fully articulated figures with absolutely shit hot faces, you know what I mean? Incredible faces like that one, you know what I mean? But still, some people love that type of style, so... And this is unfortunately the one I've ranked at the worst, but I would like to say, if I haven't already said, I love all my Maul figures and they've all got a job they do. I find a place for them or a home for them on my shelves. This one from that angle is incredible and looks just like how he did again on Tatooine. when the Royal Starship, over there, flies away, you get this silhouette, back shot from the back of Maul. He puts his saber and unlights his lightsaber. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Cuts to Qui-Gon on the ramp, sweating and panting. But look at the state of his face. It's awful. In fact, should I take the robes off just for a laugh? Hang on. Yeah, good God, look at him. He looks way too happy. Look at that smile. The other figure that I would have put as the worst is a figure I don't own. My nephew used to have a figure of Maul. It was awful. I think it's the one from the the movie line. Movie Heroes, was it? And the articulation is pretty damn awful, man. It's a bit like the articulation of this figure. It's got like a bent limb that you can't do anything with. And I saw some pictures on Google, on the internet the other day, and it didn't look as bad as the figure he had. Maybe his was just badly painted. It was just an awful figure of Maul, but this is the worst. It's just such a weird figure. And then finally, I haven't really put it in because it's almost like it's a different type of figure, but I have actually been pleasantly surprised with this. This is the Darth Maul hologram, and a lot of people have commented, including Simon Finch of Australia, Sci-Fi, a fellow who has goddamn every figure available in the world ever, in 3 3/4 inch, and he said that he hadn't heard of this figure before, and I'd never heard of it either. If you want to see me opening it, it's on Patreon, but I'm in natural light here. I've got some light coming in. It sort of lights it up a little bit in this translucent plastic. I can see Maul there, but because he's a hologrammatic figure, holographic, should I say, it doesn't really belong with the others, does it really? It's Maul, yeah. And I was going to put him in order, but actually I bottled it and I just thought, nah, I'll just feature him. So I'm glad I've waited until he got delivered before I did this video. But do let me know if any of these other figures that I have are like any Mauls that I don't own, if that makes sense. And I'm sorry, look at the carnage I've left behind here. I've done the video as I usually do, in a line. They're all laid out. So it's almost like a spoiler. You can see what my favourite one is, and then you can see the crap at the end. So probably people don't watch all these videos throughout, but because it's almost spoiled by the start of it, you can see what order I've put them in. But still, I quite like doing it that way. Place is a bit of a mess now. But there you are, ladies and gentlemen. That is Darth Maul. There's loads of figures you can get from Maul. I do love the character a lot. Some wonderful figures. And I do agree when they say they could make another one, a definitive. They need to make a Phantom Menace with an absolutely piping hot face. But again, Tim from Bosk's Bounty, if you're watching, they had their chance to do that here. They kind of reissued the original, but they definitely updated the face without question, because they did the same to Padme. That's a much better figure, that one there, than the first Queen Amidala in TVC. That is just Natalie Portman, that. But they got to do it again, haven't they? They've got to do it again to make it ultra definitive. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Out.